A very close map to kick us off here at Game Changers, but it did go to the way of Casey. In the end, I'm your hosting, so I'm back in once again with Meg and Billy. I mean, I say Casey took that, but Billy, it very nearly ended up being an overtime.
Yeah, I mean, you have a 9-3 half and they end up letting SK kind of get back into it. Yeah, it was really, really worrying because their defense looked so good, and then you bring them onto that attack. I thought they would be explosive, right, with having the amount of utility that they had, but actually it was SK that was managing to fight for space. Obviously not enough for them, but yeah, I mean, they almost let it slip.
Yeah, we got to talk about that little oopsie that we saw as well, because Meg, in the second half, things got a little bit chaotic.
Yeah, I mean, my heart broke when Safia came off of that plant, and I think we all gasped audibly because we've all been there, we've all done that, but in a comeback like this that SK were making, I can imagine that that was really impactful on their kind of mental coming into the future rounds. It genuinely broke my heart, but I mean, either way, what a game to open with. It really was the battle of defensive halves, and yes, my emotions are all over the place, but I have to say SK Nebula really do love to come up from the trenches. We saw it yesterday as well with them on Haven. They just love a comeback, and it did nearly go their way.
I think she thought she had it, Billy. Like, from her pop, it looks like she thought she planted.
I would love to hear the comms in that moment because, like you say, it looks as though she thought she had it and then ends up going for the swing off the back of it. But yeah, it was just really sad to see that pressure moment.
Yeah, we have to give it to the fragging IGL though, because Billy, our IGLs in Game Changers, they're always fragging IGLs, you know, we've always been above that meta. But GX had a really nice game, and also the way that she actually managed to close it out, I think we have to give her some kudos for that.
Oh yeah, 100%. You have the Omen versus Omen as the kind of round closer there and managing to close the series finally for her team. But I think as well, just the back-to-back multi-frags that GX was able to have, she brought so much value to her team, the amount of impact that she was able to have. I think we had a 4K in round 4, and then in round 5 she ended up having an ace. So yeah, she was really going above and beyond for her team here.
Yeah, and the amount of pressure that must have applied from the get-go to SK Nebula, I think really did affect the amount of rounds that they managed to pick up on that attacking half. And yeah, props to GX, because to think that on top of those 4Ks and the ace that she got, to think she's IGLing on top of that, I mean, an incredibly talented player.
Yeah, like I said, all of our GC IGLs, they've always beaten the allegations, always. Also, shout out to Smart7. Glance was right. Almost every time there was a timeout, it came out. They managed to adapt. They managed to lock down the round, something we love to see. We will be heading to Haven next, and you can't help but feel, Meg, maybe Casey have a chance to even close us out 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to highlight as well that Carmine Corp are the only team to have beaten G2 Gozen on Haven, and that means to me that they are the front runners going into this map out of all of the teams here in the top 4, that they are kind of like the ones that are wearing the crown, the Haven enjoyers. So I think it's going to be really interesting, because on the other side of that, you do have SK Nebula, who did play Haven yesterday, and I feel like they definitely have had the time to maybe implement a few changes and correct a few of those mistakes that they made yesterday against Heroic.
Yeah, 100%. And you have to remember, Haven was their map pick against Heroic yesterday, right? So they would have gone into that feeling confident. And I think the fact that they kind of let it slip a little bit was a little bit concerning. So yeah, I think KC going into this one, they're not going to be too angry about it because, of course, it is their map pick and they have a 100% win rate on it, as we mentioned previously. So yeah, you have to be worrying for SK Nebula at this point.
It's a big game as well, because you win here, you move on to the next round in the upper bracket. You avoid playing again just back-to-back days, avoid the lower bracket. There's a lot riding on this map, but of course we do have a map 3 coming up if Casey were to drop this. But let's talk about some of the expectation on the side of Casey, because we haven't seen them at playoffs yet playing this map, and I love them. But Meg, But just like, why they got the bog standard boring comp, you know? Give us something spicy.
I know. I have to say I was looking a little bit at both of their comps going into Haven, and it is previously a mirror kind of comp, you know, running that Jet, the Omen, the Breach, the Cypher, the Sova. You know, I think we spoke a lot yesterday with Kakuka about, you know, maybe bringing out a Deadlock, or I'm loving seeing the Vice. Like, I don't expect to see them coming off Cypher. Cypher is legend and deserves to be played. And I don't know, Billy, if there's any sort of changes that you would love to see selfishly on these compositions.
Selfishly, looking at Casey's comp, I would love to see Glance maybe go over to that Teho, just because it is an agent that we see her play across a lot of the maps. And of course, when we've seen her on the Sky going into that split, weren't entirely sure about it. Going on to Haven, she does usually play the Sova, but I'd be intrigued to see if they mix things up. Given their win rate, I presume they won't be.
Yeah, I also presume they won't be either. But they have had a little bit of time, right? They have had time to maybe try and shake things up if they want to here. But you guys mentioned already SK's Haven yesterday. What do they need to change if they want to force this to a map 3?
Ooh, I'm going to jump in early there because I think me and Billy touched on this yesterday. I think they let a lot of defensive aggression come through from Heroic, albeit it was a totally different comp if we're seeing their predictable comps coming through today. You know, they had that kind of fanatic Haven comp, so they were taking a lot of aggression on the A and the C, and I think they were just letting them through. They were letting them find that space in map control, and it wasn't until a little bit later on in the game, that 10-5 scoreline, that they really realized they had to invest a lot of utility into clearing and taking that space back. So I think we'll maybe see them kicking into that a little bit earlier on, because I don't think that they have the leeway or the room here to make as many errors as they did and give up as many rounds as they did against Heroic yesterday.
Yeah, I think when we look back at their game against Heroic yesterday on Haven, they kind of took some time to adapt to that double duelist composition that Heroic were running, right? Because they were able to get so much space down C long, so much space down A long as well, and they really, really struggled to kind of be able to punish that. And Jelena, you know, as she said in that interview, it was the defense against Heroic that was their strong point and the attack that was difficult, whereas previously against KC, it was the opposite way around. So it'll be interesting to see if they have fixed that going into this one.
I hope they have. I really hope they have. And they've had reps as well. As you guys know, like having reps here in competition is very, very important. It sets you up for success. I want them to kind of look out a little bit more for Alkia, despite, you know, maybe the scoreboard doesn't tell you Alkia's impact on that map, Billy. We saw just the second she bought an op, they won every single round that she had an op.
Exactly, and we can probably expect Alkia to jump onto the op on this map, right? She's usually playing the Jet. You have deep line sights on a map such as Haven, so I would expect that Alkia is going to be causing mischief on the op, and of course she has Anastasia setting her up, her debut here in the main event, so it's been really nice to see her kind of perform throughout that first map as well.
Yeah, I think as well, this is definitely more comfortable for them setting up Alkia to take that space, whether it's on defense or attack. And I have, from their last game, I think Anastasia got 13 assists. So you know that she's going in and setting up her duelist to take that space and get onto site. So I feel like this is definitely a map that maybe we're going to see Alkia's impact on that duelist come through even more.
Also, shout out for the assist mention. Like, dead ass, because like people don't talk about it enough, right? Everyone's always so focused on the first number and the second number. They're ignoring the third number.
I know, we need justice for breaches, because I feel like a lot of the time, you know, breaches are pulling out crazy assist numbers and maybe not so much on the kill front. But yeah, as a fellow breach lover, I've got to shout it out.
Yeah, let's see if we're going to get some breaches here. We're going to get two, Meg. No changes with the comps.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of us expected any changes, and it is a little bit disappointing, but with them both having a fairly strong success rate on these maps and knowing comfortably how to play Haven, I'm not shocked that they've come into this with their comfort picks. I'm really expecting them to very much just do what they do best here and kind of show us why they love Haven so much, because again, this is the most picked map in Game Changers so far.
Yeah, I want to see SK Nebula try and deal with the Sentinel utility a little bit better on their attack this time round. I think they were getting caught out by Cypher Cams down C long and the guard utility that Heroic had yesterday, so hopefully they're able to fix up those kind of mistakes.
Well, Casey, they've never been in the top 4 before, but if they win this, Pansy and Hypog, they might even get a top 3, who knows?
I mean, that is a fair assessment, right? This could be a big jump up here, but to kind of arc back to something that Meg said that really resonated with me.
For breach, right? Is that where you're going with this?
It wasn't that. It was,
okay,
it was from yesterday.
okay.
How do you feel about this? Is this tickling the right spots for you? Well, that's a stare and a half. I mean, now I can't say that line. Now I can't ask that.
Was she aware that we just cut to that?
Yeah, like, wait, hold on.
Why is that
just
so
like,
well timed?
The face card is just never going to decline here. Like, what are we doing? But genuinely, these comps being as vanilla as they are, does this tickle the right spots for you, Michael? Because for me, I like the Fnatic comp. I think it's fantastic. I think it's actually got a really good amount of run to it. Seeing them go back to these kind of standardized comps, I don't know. It's not tickling the right spots for me.
No, it's not, for want of a better term. And also for me, you've got to be sweating if you're SK, right? Coming out of the performance yesterday, it was very streaky. I think after that map one, although it, great comeback, but it's still, it's a tough blow, right? To come out, not force overtime there, drop the map, and now come into KC's map pick. Again, with basically against the ropes.
Yeah. I would say, I guess the one caveat to that, and maybe redemption story, is that we get... Oh, hold on. Had a little bit of a mid-walk there for SK. Didn't decide to continue too far, but found no resistance, so can kind of easily drift back towards A, maybe supporting Cabot here, because playing retake on A, we know how that feels. But as said, I want to see if this attack inside looks better for KC. That's a lot of information.
Yeah,
you're scarpering.
I was going to say, going to put Safia in motion here. Now, if she finds this kill onto Purity, that could be huge, and absolutely does. Opens the map.
Now there's such a gap, isn't there, right? There's so much of unknown. Davalasa is going to hit a stampede through Garage. Camera's going to do its work. Oh no, is it not a kill? Oh, there we go. There we go. The second time of asking, but replied in kind. Holding the flank. Safia is everywhere. The SK hate her to be. That couldn't have gone better in that scenario. Jade now having to walk this one back, and it ain't going far. KC starting with a bang.
This heads-up play here from Safia as well, to find the entry on B, to then slip deeper back into the map towards spawn to catch the rotation. Probably not considered here on the side of SK, and a fantastic opening. Like I said, just this is awkward at first, but finding 2 kills nonetheless from Devilassa. So I can't even get my words out there. But a beautiful opener here. Back and forth, and you can see how quick the reaction is based on the information gathered at A. And I think SK are probably making the right decisions, right? A little lull in terms of the sound cues. They were getting in a position to really fortify that A hold. It's a little strange here, Jade, on a solo mission down C-Long, but maybe just looking for something cheeky to open the round up.
I know it's like that kind of like, oh, they'll think maybe it's a stack if I walk down here, or say, but it feels so blunt and obvious that you don't often kind of follow it up. But I do want to say as well, considering I was not questioning, but critiquing the attacking side, I love the decisiveness of what KC did then. Off the back of that dart doing so well, so much information gathered off it, they were decisive in approach. And I think that's something I'm going to continue to keep my eye on going through this. For now, you do want to be a bit cautious because there is obviously that threat of a stack somewhere, the unknown. Fortunately enough for them, they do have a couple of good information finders off the back of Glance. Going to invest the owl drone clearing close, ensuring that no one's going to be tucked in these corners. And so far, it feels like they've got a good approach to this. Not even going to go for the instantaneous dart back now. It's there. It's looking pretty solid.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, plant will come through. Uncontested. I think the penny just dropping now for SK. Only classics to work with. Well, they're going to be able to really get anything done here in terms of financial damage. Still a trip to overcome as well. Yeah, noted now. So, I mean, potentially here if KC don't push towards CT, yeah, they're actually coming back towards their spawn. You almost don't want
try and make it costly.
I was going to say, you almost don't want to be herded in here. Oh,
Okay,
that's
costly.
not good. Yeah.
Wait.
I was gonna say almost a recovery, but
Nearly.
yeah.
Yeah, this was the start. And again, maybe just trying to feign that there was more presence there to try and herd them back towards A that did house the stack. But as we saw, well navigated in the end, a little bit messy, but it's job done overall. When you come into a bonus like this, I mean, they're buying pretty well behind it. This isn't without a punch to it for KC.
I think the rifle being retrieved there makes sure that they're still in a position to bolster this purchase. Anasilia, I believe, was the one bringing a pistol into the previous, so
my ult's not ready.
and no real benefit for SK on the other side of things, buying back in regardless.
I like this walk down sewer. It has been noted now, so Jelena is on a timer to an extent of how long she might want to stick around to this. There's no progress made up towards long particularly. Yeah, I think she, with the back of the owl drone, but again, that mid-presence. This lurk. Oh, and the follow-up to boot. You've got C on a platter. Hell, you've made them paranoid about B. The map is yours to do what you want, and I love how Safi is playing this. Taking a lot of space, giving a lot of information that this rotation will be through B or will be on flank. He'll be somewhere else because it's certainly not in spawn. Alkia now ready for it, catching Jade as she tries to make her way back around towards C. But these lurks and these pressure plays through middle, absolutely stunning.
One enemy remaining.
Dug out here, but Alkia finds a response. We'll find the third on the round as well. A 3-0 lead here. And Safi just carving her way through this round.
Guess we need a trip in B.
Yeah, if it's left open like that now, you'd want to see an adjustment for the future rounds. I mean, you can't really fight again, just kind of out aiming Purity as well in two scenarios. So utility aside, it's getting that kind of, well, almost dry engagement, right? It's on the back of nothing. It's just a walk up into B. And if that's the setup, well, I mean, now we're seeing 3 people here to try and maybe temper that or establish themselves going forwards.
Oh. That's not bad.
Cabot will, remove the head of the snake almost here. At the start
There's
of round
something
4.
A little bit telling of when you get a pick on someone like Safia, it's like, well, no one else is here. Just leave me alone, it's fine. Oh, Christ, that was a bit too close. Delasso is probably not happy with how that felt. Bloomin' heck. Still alive though, backside, got some help on the way. A little bit of a smoke over towards Logs, gonna try and make this a bit more uncomfortable. Ult to boot on top, that is a big old investment. Purity trying to play her life, but caught in the end. Good reveal on this, and a great little bit of work from GX again. Stabilizing in all the chaos. Jelena and Cabot. And Cabot did well initially, but to find more of that, difficult.
Yeah, Jelena spotted really early on here as well. The other side of things, Cabot will fall. And not much else to do here. KC starting off here on Haven very strong. Again, we find ourselves asking for an early response here from SK, and not just a round victory, right? Something kind of to replicate, to string together rounds. We're talking about the things feeling a little streaky, and that I think probably is a trend that continues yesterday from the game versus Heroic for SK here on Haven. So early time out here because this is a crucial round.
Oh, it can spiral, can't it? If this one falls to the wayside, you're starting to clutch at straws. So for the sake of SK, you kind of hope they find some stability and maintain map control. They've been exploited by Safia, basically. 2 critical rounds now throughout the 4 that's been played so far. So I do want to see them kind of bolster a little bit of that utility. Obviously, there is that psychological knock-on effect of you'll assume that they've adapted. So what do we do now? Do we still need to do it? I think for peace of mind, getting a bit more util towards that B site so you don't have to so actively sit towards it the whole time. And again, yeah, it was a bit of a dry fight and it was won out by Safia, but remove some of that pressure away would be incredibly valuable.
Here's the thing: these rounds were very little nuance. So they're obviously the easy ones to learn from, but the problem being, KC haven't really had to dig that deep in the playbook. They haven't really had to pull out any sort of flash to
There we go.
achieve the success, and that might be the crucial missing piece of the puzzle for SK.
And don't get me wrong, they could always adjust or break the trip, but then it keeps eyes on it.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but it kind of opens up avenues elsewhere on the map if they do want to prioritize elsewhere. And I think initially, actually, it's dealt with by some utility on from Glance. You can see the smoke going over the top of it now.
Deploying drone.
While all this happens, it is the slow march towards A. It was looking like a double stack towards that quad side almost, but now disengaged slightly in a good isolated fight for Cabot. Takes away Alkia, the tip of the spear, and now you're looking at the support system in place. That felt far too individual here. GX, incredible player, but some of the TPs, even with ult, have been questionable. Now, this slow and almost fragmented approach towards A has been divided. Glance now has to try and pick up the mantle, but the spacing, not there, no trade. Cabot still in control. Don't give her these 1v1s. She is absolutely making you look amateur. Beautiful from Cabot. And Carmine Core just wandering to their own death.
Again, just also felt like an all-out brawl here on A site. But again, the timing of the peaks initially just kind of lining them up, giving Cabot an opportunity to pull off such a round. We could see a little energy to get themselves on the board here in map 2 as well.
They needed that.
Stop their breach at all costs.
Cabot's got ult. Devilassa as well. Obviously, more trickier to bank on, but early shock darts towards that C main approach. Jolina is here on duty, however.
The jump peak will sniff it out. Flash, the dart comes through as well. Will be pinged out. Not spammed through just yet. Won't draw the rotation. SK not really feeling the pressure just yet. Actually, the tag does come through on Dalki. Didn't even spot that. Down to 63 HP now. Maybe just trying to set themselves up once again towards Garage and find themselves in the fault line. Actually going to slow things down though. Jolina really feeling the heat.
Yeah, and Devilassa bailing her out a little bit, taking away some of that pressure coming through Cabot from across map, getting the opponent down. We've got a nice 5v3, and Jolina, I don't know how she's gone away with playing here the whole round, it feels like. So identified early on, but unwilling to relent. So now looking at what is going on beyond that, love this reposition from Cabot. Just nice for a space container. And even if they do get picked, it does buy a lot of time for rotation, but Cabot playing this really well. Lovely control on the space and the follow-up too. Beautifully, beautifully done. GX now a 1v5 on 12 HP. Great on split, but this one, way out of reach. I don't think you're going to be able to get much more from this here. No, absolutely not. A flying Jade will ensure it.
2 on the board now for SK. And they're 2 very comfortable rounds, it feels like. Oh, okay, it wasn't even a leg, it was a fingertip caught there. With the op, and that, I think that's the crucial kill there. Devilassa again applying enough pressure to make sure that, dare I say, Jolina remains comfortable there at backside, but
yeah,
there was no semblance of comfort whatsoever, but...
That goes there.
Bladestorm available here, and I guess brought down to what will feel like the last full purchase obtained here from KC's early lead in terms of the scoreline. There's 3 players on the other side of this for SK.
Good little tag here. Not sure if it's going to get the information on Jade as well. This is 3 players. Smoke's just gone in towards heaven. Paranoia is gone, and Jolina with an uncharacteristic miss. The paranoia was perfect.
Oh my word.
But this is... Where's the call? Where's the help? What on earth just happened? It was a absolute blowout on the site. KC gonna somehow trade in effectively, but how no one was helping Jelena in that situation. Two of them backside, don't know if they were stunned, blind, something, but this is looking like KC have course corrected.
I mean, I'd have to see that back to see what else connects and what really prevents it, any sort of reaction, because it looked like there was no reaction at all. The Alki are getting up close and personal here, so I mean, Paranoia connects here. But yeah, I mean, finally comes through. It's Cabot to snap. Okay, Paranoia connects here onto default. Sorry, on the back of default. So unfortunately there, I think Jade just losing out on some of the audio cues, but yeah, chaotic to say the least. When we're talking about the things that either team can replicate, that's not the sort of round you want to bank on.
TP to back of Platt. Oh, sent away here. Having a little bit of a controlling moment for KC. Need to settle on the tempo now. They've got what they wanted. They've got the back lines controlled. They've got good pressure held here towards site. It is a 5v5 retake. And Acilia does have the ultimate. If things do get a bit too hectic, Glance controls on that pressure on the back lines. And now things get really difficult. Trying to work back through the double stack towards CT as well. Alkia, brilliant work on the follow-up on Purity 2. Devalasa and Jelena, it's not looking likely. Devalasa, great, sure, but this, too many problems, too many players, and too many enemies.
Yeah, overwhelmed at the end. As soon as that kill comes through on the flank, that early on, it forces the hand of everybody else on SK. I mean, you can't fault Cabot. In that scenario, I think she probably feels like she's got the 1v1, has to try and take it. And capitalize on what feels like probably the only favorable situation ahead of that retake getting started, Lauren.
Yeah, getting that retake started is obviously difficult.
Where are you?
It is.
Nice. This goes here. That goes there.
6-2 now. KC definitely feeling a little more comfortable in some of these rounds, Lauren.
Yeah, comfort being key. Zafia on the operator now. Interesting adjustment. I mean, I guess we've seen Nats with the op every now and then. Oh my god, GX though. Just dominating down long. They went for a little bit of a biff. Zafia, they're there. Yeah, that's not what you expect on a lurk though, is it? Like, let's be honest. I feel for Devalasa in this one. That is like brutal to deal with. It's like, oh yeah, no, they're back in middle. Yeah. Oh really? What have they got? Operator.
Operator.
Oh, of course. Silly me. Like, oh, seems good. Well, I was worried about the attacking sides, Mike. I'm not that worried anymore.
No, I mean, GX kind of finding some of that map 1 success here to open up round 9.
Last player standing.
Jade with a response, sure, but I think it's another situation where some of these round losses just feel really rough for SK because, like I said, you can learn very little from these linear rounds that Carmine Core are winning out on. They're not having to rely on any sort of, you know, choreographed hits or anything really to set anything up in the early round. It's a couple of really dry engagements that they lose out on. In that regard, it feels like SK just banging their head against the wall if they try and oppose that.
And if you're looking at kind of your win cons as well for SK here, Jelena not having much impact yet. And for me, she's always been one of those players who can really put up some numbers. And a quiet game at this point feels very uncomfortable. They've drawn the rotations. Do they continue? Bloomin' heck. Glance bailing them out in towards middle, but there is a pick to be had. Speaking of Jelena...
Well, she heard you.
Let's see a bit more then. This is now getting uncomfortable. Has support, has the spike. But we're looking at the rest of the map. Have a glance towards Zafia here. Once again. Oh my god, the timing. Oh, it's outrageous from Zafia. And Jade doesn't get a clean shot, does get tagged up. 5 HP. Brought back from the brink. They've made this round possible.
And that's Cabot's made her way over here to try and reinforce and maybe just stack up here. Play off a trade, but it's going to leave the back door open in terms of A site. You see the pings coming through on the map to check for that. I think Cabot's just out of audio range here, yeah, with KC not going through sewers. Do have the Rolling Thunder here
10 seconds left.
available for the retake. Fault line burnt up very early on. Yeah, I was going to say it's.
Oh.
You're almost expecting this Rolling Thunder to get invested now.
Doesn't go
The drop
far
of
enough,
GX.
One enemy remaining.
Cabot,
Yeah.
Glance in the end was never affected by the ult. It was so
Yeah.
shallow in the end that Glance could sit there. Yeah, it almost kind of set her teammates to the walls. But this was the
Which
changing
says
point.
Safia was pulling no punches here, just brazenly walking onto the backside of C site. I think, yeah, just the gap between the fault line and the Rolling Thunder there. If you are going to invest it, as you said, that shallow almost, you want the fault line to cover off some other area.
Well,
Felt like,
this is worrying me, Mike. We've got 2 rounds from SK, right? It feels like they're, as you almost said earlier, hitting their heads against a wall. You know, it's really not having that level of impact. Yeah, Cabot's having a round or 2 here or there, but Safia is slipping the lines in what feels like every 3 rounds. Alki's doing very well on the entries. GX is there. This is all worrying signs for SK.
Yeah, and in terms of the bigger picture, I mean, the split, SK took pistol round 2 and then it ended on a 9-3 half. So we're almost looking at a very similar situation here. SK's purchase is gonna feel pretty much all in.
No,
And
right.
that's rough. If we're looking at round 11 now, round 12 just seems daunting.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it definitely
This
does.
goes here.
Okay, let's in the eyes of SK see what they do here. It looks like KC kind of going for that A-long pressure again, and to be fair for Cabot, they've been handling that pressure well. Does have the support of Jelena, operator now posted. They don't like something they felt there. Maybe that early test of strength didn't fancy it. A little bit of a slip through towards the cubby in middle for Purity. So another new look. And of course, the first time they don't play Garage or put a trip towards it, they're going that way. No, Purity's heard it all, but for Devilassa, you've got to almost play off site. Actually, no. Committing back site. They're trying to hinder the progress. Devilassa looking to try and live by logs, but now, oh my gosh, tucking towards the back of the site. And this round's felt horrible from the word go and not even seeing an opponent, but the lull in the round buys a second or 2. The layering of utility comes back in, and SK hold the back line, finally digging in deep enough. Safia handled, and SK somehow living through the absolute chaos of that round.
Before the switch.
The barrage of utility. I know that KC just can't find any progress towards site. I mean, you can even see here Jade with 2 huge kills, just stepping outside of the fault line.
One enemy remaining.
It's a massive investment from KC, and they garner nothing on the back of it.
That goes there.
A miracle here. We talked about lifelines in map 1. Another found here from SK. So give them a little bit of a chance to catch a breath, maybe, and still find themselves a comfortable purchase here. TP committed. GX in the back lines now.
He sticks the TP this time. Oh, Devilassa. I genuinely feel for her. It's so hard to hold the site, you know, especially with the amount of pressure coming in, let alone the TP to the back lines. But Jade's cleared GX, so maybe opening up some avenues all the way back in, but 3 on the flank, Mike.
Yeah, won't be noted here, Safia, but a chance maybe to go 1 for 1. No, Purity will open things up here for SK in the retake.
Getting started now. Slowed down on entry. Nasilia doing very well to find 2. Swing from CT and KC. This time, holding this down, but 2 HP for Purity. There's nothing more to be done from that. Glance gonna confirm it, feeling like a formality. 3 rounds for SK is all that they can gather.
Yeah, it's tough to be staring down the same barrel as round 1. That's similar miracles to try and pull off here, Lauren.
It's an uphill struggle going forward. Let's see if they can do it. When we're back from the break, it is a long road back now.
Oh, we're just getting started. Life of whatever party. I'll be at night all day. I won't call away. Oh, we're just getting started. Life of whatever party. I'll be at night all day. I won't call away. Oh, we're just getting started. Life of whatever party. I'll be at night all day. I won't call away. Oh, we're just getting started. Life of whatever party. I'll be at night all day. I won't call away.
KC with a fantastic start to their map 2 here. After, honestly, I didn't know quite what to expect. I really thought that SK, after their close affair on map 1, Mike, would have at least been able to kind of keep up toe-to-toe, but it feels like SK haven't quite got started in this.
Yeah, a similar trend, obviously, to what we saw on Split, and the concern being, like I said, KC wouldn't have felt good about that round, that map 1 victory, just because of the nature of the second half. But if they can right their wrongs here, find some comfort early on once again.
Scanning ahead.
Again, I think, what was it? On the first map, I think KC came back and won the first 2 as well. So immediately finding 11 rounds. Cabot, though, straight up with the drone. The dash comes through from Jelena. Something that you definitely want to see activate here in the second half, but immediately shut down.
And Sapphire fancy some more. You thought they were teed up for it too, but Devil Ass still want to kind of keep things within touching distance. Purity getting caught up in all of the mess here, but GX making her reappearance after map 1, and it's a disastrous start for SK. And Carmine Core will be over the moon with that.
Feeling good about double digits this time around, surely. I said it's unfortunate here. You almost think Sapphire's teed up to find another 2, potentially 3 kills in that situation.
Yeah.
But it's GX to find another multi-kill. 3 on the pistol for her. As you can see, SK, yeah, throw money back into this. Almost leaning towards holding KC ahead of overtime. If they do lose out on this round.
All right. Show me something. Give me a reason to believe here, SK. That's gonna do for a start. We take those. Sapphire next. Jelena trying to take the space, and Sapphire does get noted. Nice from Jelena. And now GX though. In all of these clinch situations that could tip the other way, she seems to really dig in, but SK fighting right back. Finally with some fire in them, hitting towards this B site. Looking for that plant to be in play soon. It can pause, take a second. Oh no, a risky choice.
As I said, there's a chance there that they line up for Glance, but able to find that lifeline they need once again, Lauren. Yeah, I mean,
Are we on for the repeat?
Yeah, Alkia's just not expecting that many bodies.
Spike down mid.
Challenging
1 enemy remaining.
at the start of the round here. Oh, it could be looking at a very similar story here in the second half. I mean, at least this time held on 10, right? You got a round in hand. It's almost an improvement from Split.
Yeah, this is when it gets. Maybe. I'm down for the ride. Look, I got nothing else to do today. Let's see what you can do. Can you bring this scoreline back? Did it almost on map 1. Sapphire taking some pretty decent space here. Going to be thwarted by the cam, but still. It's, if anything, rather telling that, Glance, you're about to have a busy day at the office.
Definitely have our hands. Oh, Glance though. Hands up to the challenge, at least initially. The trade's come back. It's 2 for, well, Initially 2 for 2, but SK follow through.
This is an isolated fight. Oh, thankfully, Cabot is on the case, but bloody hell, that got a little bit dangerous. Jade down on, what, 20 HP at the end of that?
Yeah, yep.
Have a look at this one. Glance. Absolutely being a terror from Quad. We said she was about to be busy. She certainly was, but again, a cautious but a made step for SK here, and it's one foot in front of the other really at this point. Buy round is back for KC though, so a bit of a challenge now.
Yeah,
on the hands.
But I guess the comparison being this time around, SK have at least a buffer. There was no buffer on split.
That's true. Look at that deep trip coming out as well from Safia. Allows a lot more freedom to focus.
Yeah, it really
in
does.
towards Garage.
Looking to play off the cam here. Struggling to pin down the drone, but...
Oh, but the paranoia
yeah.
and the fault line is beautifully done. Really choreographed between all of them. Love to see that push and pull. But it kind of funnels SK in towards the B site then.
Does, and Cabot will be the victim of that scenario. Jade trying to look for something. We'll clear the space towards backside, but again, that window of opportunity closing now. They're going to need a kill once this smoke drops.
And they have nowhere for the post plant.
Yeah, exactly.
They can try and choose a connector. They can try and play forward, which is looking like they're trying to do, right? Purity trying to team up here with Jade, try and get a bit of security, at least towards that A connector. But we can see it, they couldn't. Carmine Core basically surrounding on all fronts.
Devil Ass actually ran out of ammo there, had nothing left to reload. Heartbreaking situation.
That is tough.
But Jelena, again, in a situation where she just doesn't have a say in a round. I'm not sure what the numbers reflect there, but it's been a really, really tough map too for her.
It's a shame. I've seen Jelena do wonders on this. 5-11, you're right. A very suffocating game so far for Jelena, not really finding the freedom to work, not finding the freedom to find impact. And it feels like just as the ball starts rolling, answer back from KC. Right, it's very, very tricky, and it's not like Alkia is having this huge, headline performance. You're looking at GX, you're looking at Safia, kind of the normally the unsung heroes, really having their day in the sun. So beyond that, one away from Jade's ult, one away from Jelena's. They've got a couple of bits on the horizon, but they don't have many rounds to play with, Mike. They are running out of time to try and pull this one back from the brink.
I mean, I was talking about, at least this time around, there being a buffer. Now that's maybe not the case as we come into round 17, because it's now a must win. No buy in hand here. I mean, even you see Jade struggling to string together much more than a pistol.
This goes here. Yes, this should do.
On the brink of some ultimates, at least.
Oh, this is
being Jelena, Jade, and Cabot. Not available off rip yet.
My ult's ready.
I'll say that. Will change maybe an opportunity to get a weapon in the hands of Jade.
How do they try and pull this one back? I guess there's something to be said, at least being on the attack. You are the masters of your own fate to try and figure out how you want to try and pull this back through. It can be very oppressive on the other side. But as it stands, looking for options, looking for opportunities towards the A site. Support already coming into play here. Glance trying to come back around a little. Dart down long, finds nothing. And at quite a pivotal time, this allows them once again to filter back through to this 2-2-1.
Yeah, I mean, there's almost no pressure so far.
Shadows traveling.
No real question marks, across the map. Alkia now going exploring. We'll find the trip
30 seconds.
and very quickly relay this information to the rest of her team.
Two players here, Mike. And Safia. Oh, just set up to succeed. Jelena's gone down, but can Safia survive? She can do more than that. Thrives in the chaos. And now suddenly everyone is on site. It's a team effort today. Carmine Core locked the hell in.
Match point.
Safia once again punishing Jelena off that same trip. And doubles down this time. Struggled previously, but the seaside hold from KC standing the test of time.
Last player standing.
That's 12 on the board now for KC.
Yes, this should do.
Like I said, ultimates available now for SK. I mean, one away from Cabets as well, but the purchase, it's just so uncomfortable for them. You'd almost want now the Blade Storm coming into this round.
Yeah. Oh, at least give them a little bit of something to lean towards, something to bank on. Big information. Alkia going down though. Cabot trying to claw back into this, and that could be a recoverable rightful. Good catch here as well on towards Glance. If Glance can stay alive, it would be nothing short of a miracle. Comes out of the stun, and the run and gun not working for Jade. Asilia trying to back them up. GX is there. As said, you fight one, you fight them all. Devil Acid trying to hit a lurk, hit a timing on this, but there's still the trip in play.
Yes, and you almost don't want us to deal with this trip too early. Maybe just wait for a footstep or two to note a reposition, but out of range now deals with a trip, and I think that's probably a good indicator of SK's intentions now.
God, look at the map. Again, this post plant, where do
Feels
you
like it's
find
getting
comfort?
smaller and smaller.
First forward, a little isolated, a bit unnecessary too. A speed up through middle now. Carmine Core won the job done, and Purity, the first to be really challenged here. Devil Ass has gone down, Purity falls, Carmine Core. It is clear cut, it's decisive, and it is a clean scoreline. 13 rounds to only 5.
Yeah, no secrets this time in the second half performance from KC. Able to maybe course correct a little bit from Split where they struggled. Some fight out of SK, but I think a similar story, right? We were criticizing the attack, maybe a lack of ideas, and I think here probably just struggling to get Jelena into a position to really have impact in a lot. And it's rough to see anybody perform. Well, I say have a bad performance or a lesser performance than usually expected, but in that regard, it's credit to KC in really keeping Jelena in check.
No, they really did it. And again, it feels like it was the unsung heroes who had their day today. The Omens coming in, the Cyphers coming in. You know, it wasn't really the day of the duelist, right?
No, it's the anchors of KC that have really excelled today in the form of GX and Sapphire. Fantastic individual performances from them. And like I said, when it's those players excelling, it's players like Jelena on the duelist that are going to struggle.
No, it was very, very impressive work. And again, to see that level of comfort rise into map 2 like that, really building off the success of map 1 and just continuing that form going forward, a fantastic performance. And I do want to see how they look going deeper into this tournament now, continuing on this sort of trajectory, as really they've got to keep their name up in contention now. Bear in mind, of course, later today we do get to see G2, obviously the kind of pinnacle of that EMEA region. But still, what a fantastic performance from them. They should absolutely be proud of what they've been able to put into today.
Yeah, for sure. I absolutely agree with that. And obviously not an elimination today, so able to go away and really, I guess, in detail look at what went wrong for SK, because certainly on map 1, there were a lot of positives, right? They were able to really manipulate KC in that comeback and find a lot of successes, but I just felt like it lacked variety, it lacked diversity almost in the approach here on attack on both maps.
Yeah, and it's something that we noted when we watched back the VODs. It was a couple of other bits that we've highlighted throughout these games, but an impressive map 2 close. But something else that's impressive is our analyst desk, which is where we're going now.
No, you. Yeah, no, you. But that was very, very impressive. I think Pansy and Hypog hit the nail on the head there. But also for KC, another day, another history made. Billy, we talked about the fact they've never been in top 4 before, but they just keep pushing forward. And perhaps this is their time to finally lift a trophy.
It's so nice to see the synergy that this team has managed to build in such a short amount of time, right? And I think Glance kind of hit the nail on the head in the interview, right, about the new coach coming in and bringing structure, and it feels as though they're finally getting those results that they've been looking for.
Yeah, and I think you can totally understand after that performance on Haven how they've gotten here. I think they are so quick to adapt to any mistakes that they're making or any things that they're allowing the opposition to get through. And yeah, they definitely did not allow a comeback from SK on this one.
Surely, Meg, every team is going to ban Haven against them now.
I would be shocked if they don't. I think they'd be making a big mistake. Maybe now they have this game to go off, they might attempt in the short period of time to counter the great performance that Carmine Corp have been putting up on Haven, but I very highly doubt that they'll be able to take them on with as much success as Carmine Corp have had on a map like Haven.
Hey, listen, SK got 3 rounds on their defense this time. That's better than 1 from the last time. That's all I'm going to say. They were still kind of struggling on those pistol rounds, but I mean, they still put up a fight, right? They still tried their best, and I think that Hypoc and Pansy kind of painted the picture perfectly of Julina being kind of quiet in that map this time round and not really being able to be set up and activated as much as they potentially would have liked.
Honestly, I completely agree with you, and I think for SK, unlike yesterday, the losers of today, they will play again. They will have a redemption arc. They will be able to maybe make a very swift lower bracket run. Technically, is a run, right? Like, there's still a lower bracket. So if they win here and then go on to win the finals, it will be a run. They will have another chance. It will be tomorrow, which means it gives them at least a little bit of time, Billy, to try and maybe identify some of the things that went wrong and fix it.
Yeah, definitely. I think going into that, I had said that I wanted to see SK deal with the sort of Sentinel utility on their attack because we didn't really see that in their Haven against Heroic. So I think that there's definitely things that they can come away from the experience and learn and be able to prepare for that lower bracket game tomorrow and just kind of get the vibes back up, right? And get that confidence going. With them all being on boot camp as well, it's so nice for them to just go away and spend tonight together and reset going into tomorrow.
Yeah,
well,
quick shout out to Safia as well. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I just quickly wanted to mention Safia because I was going to say there were a few advantages there that sort of SK had that Safia then brought back in their favor. But I won't talk for much longer because I know what's coming up, Yinsu.
You can talk, all good, all good. You know, it's all good. I'm going to let you two rest for just a moment. We will see SK as well tomorrow. But for now, let me bring you guys an interview with the coach of KC, the new coach of KC even. It is Smart7 joining me. Hello, Smart7. Hello. Welcome to the show. I'm good. How are you?
Me also good.
I'm really happy to see you in our scene in Game Changers. I know how hard you've been grinding as a coach all this time. So I want to jump straight into it and kind of start from the beginning because we've heard a lot about like the trial process and how you put this team together. I know you said on Twitter it was like 70 players that you looked at. So tell me why you settled for this 5 players.
I think because it's just my feelings and my job as a coach, and I made it well.
What were you looking for when you were looking for players for your team?
I was looking for good players who can shoot well. Other things I can teach, I think. That's my job.
And when it comes to the things that you can teach, first of all, what do you think about Game Changers? How are you feeling about the scene, about the community?
I think community kind of less want to watch KC in general, from what we can see, but KC fans are there, and that's our huge fan base and the guys who supporting us. So I think it's I feel it so much and good because there is supporting us.
And when it comes to the league in general and what you're bringing, because we hear from your players, Glance even said that she loves all the things you're bringing to the team. What is it that you do bring, and what is it that you're teaching them right now?
I mean, it's a lot of, I think, personal work, and work with them as a team. And I think that's all things what you can do as a coach.
And what would you say is the identity of KC? I think even in the main VCT team, it feels like KC have always struggled a little bit to find how they want to play and what identity they have. So how would you sum up the identity of your team?
I think we all fine. We just not gonna struggle, and we here for be more confident. We don't have any issues at home like we had, for example, and to just only work and then play, and that's it.
That's very good to know. I have to talk about those timeouts as well. I think you mentioned the fans. The fans absolutely love your timeouts as well. I see it, on social media. They like to spam this. What are you saying in those timeouts? Why is the win rate so high?
I'm saying strats. Other coaches can also sometimes say strats,
Yeah, but if your strats are just working better, why do you think that is?
Because my strats are better.
I
simple.
love that. Do you know what? I'll give you a more specific example. On Split, there was a timeout towards the end, a very important one, you guys managed to avoid overtime. You actually close it out. What were you telling your players on that attack side? How did you fix it?
Nothing special. I was saying the ideas, what should we do, and you should always rate your timeouts much more high than opponent coach, because if you gonna just not gonna take it because you feel that the opponent coach gonna say something better, you're never gonna put the timeout, and the game maybe gonna be went to timeouts or gonna be over. So I rate in my pause, and I'm doing them in correct timings when I think it's important and gonna work. So that's it.
I feel like they shouldn't give you a timeout. They should be scared of what you're gonna say. I know you just said that they shouldn't be, but
we don't have enough timeouts in Valorant, so don't say it. Maybe it's gonna be one in future. So no need. Please. It's fine.
And lastly, Glance also spoke a little bit about the comps that you're kind of bringing and the ideas you have. I do think the sky choice on Split is we don't see that a lot, So what's the reason behind that one?
Because I think Sky's still working well, and Lens insane Sky on Split. That's why we're playing. So simple answer.
All right, I appreciate it, and I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you too.
Smart7, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
Honestly, I love the straightforwardness. My strats are better. I mean, what else can you say, Meg? Like, sometimes it's just strat diff.
Sometimes it just is what it is, And if you're as smart as that guy, you don't need to fluff it up with even more words. Just say it how it is.
I love that he's keeping his cards so close to his chest, though, right? Like, he's not giving anything away. They know that they still have another game to play and they need to progress through the bracket. So, yeah, keeping it tight and close right now.
I mean, it's going to be interesting once they get to maybe like a best of 5 stage. We can try and pry something else out of him. But for now, we are going to take a break, but don't go anywhere, because on the other side of this, G2 will be taking on GX.
Red Bull gives you wings.